Hello and welcome to the video. I've already got Azure AD Connect installed. If I double click it, we can see that we can make additional configuration options. I'll come back to that in a moment. Let's start by having a look at our Azure AD itself. And I'm going to go to the new portal. I click on Azure Active Directory and we can see the various operations that we can do on the directory. And one of them is to use Azure AD Connect. Select that, we can see that it's last synchronized within 1 hour. It also shows me that the synchronization status is enabled. I can't actually make changes here. To do that, I would need to go to the old portal. So I can select my directory. I can choose directory integration, and I can activate it and deactivate it. Again, if I come back into the new portal, we can see that we've got a link here to download the Azure AD connector. And that's exactly where I got the connector from. Once the connector is installed, it's also got the Azure AD Connect Health Agent in there, and I can click on here to look at the health of the synchronization service. And we can see that the synchronization service is healthy. We click on it. We've got the fact that it replicated at 6:44 p.m. So that was the last export from the AD. And I can carry on through here, for instance, and look at resolved issues in the last 24 hours. I had a couple of issues, and if I clicked on an issue, we can actually see that's now resolved. But if I clicked on an issue, I would go over to a help screen that would tell me what I could do. So for instance, I could test the connectivity of the Azure AD Health Service. So lots of options there by using the Azure AD Health Agent, which is now part of Azure AD Connect. So let's just close that off and let's go and look at my users. And if I click on all users, I can see that I have a number of users that are now in my Azure AD. But where did they come from? Well, the simplest way is by clicking on columns, I can see if I add source of authority where they've actually been synchronized from. So where it says Windows Server as a source of authority, that means it's been replicated or synchronized through the connector. And where it says Azure Active Directory, that user has been created actually in the Azure Active Directory. So to successfully synchronize Debbie from my on-premises directory, I've got to make sure that I have 5.ad.xtshub.com actually as a verified domain. And in the previous video, we saw that we did. But what about this user, testupn at xtsmsc5a.onmicrosoft.com. We can see here that's actually come from the Active Directory. Let's go and look at that user. So I'm going over to my AD itself. This is my on-premise AD, and if I look at my example users and groups, I have this test UPN user. If I look at the account properties here, we can see that that user is at 5.alt.xtshub.com. And that is not a very defined domain within the Azure Active Directory. So what it does is it uses the onmicrosoft.com domain for our directory. If I look at one of my other users, let's take Debbie and look at her, then we can see that she has actually got a UPN suffix of at 5.ad.xtshub.com. So that has a matching verified domain in our Azure AD. Let's go across there again. And if we go back and just close out of here and go back to domains, we can see the verified domains we've got. Okay, let's go back to the connector itself and we can see that we can view the current configuration. So that's an option. So again, next on that, and it gives us the details of the current configuration itself. If I go back to previous here, is I could customize the synchronization options, or in fact, I could change the user sign in. Okay, so we go next on there. I fill in my user, which is Tor, who's administrator. Enter the password, and it's verifying the credentials. And what we can do is we've got password synchronization, but let's say we wanted to switch over to federated ADFS. And what it's going to tell us is we need either an ADFS environment, or we need a couple of servers down here in which ADFS can be installed and the web application proxy. We also need an SSL certificate for our ADFS endpoint. So for instance, if we had sts.example.com, we would need a certificate for that. We click on next here, we can actually see that we can either use an existing farm or configure a new ADFS farm. Okay, well that's it for this week, and hopefully you found it useful, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.